Ignite is an ongoing series of speedy presentations. They've ranged from building multi-person pogo sticks to hacking chocolate. Any topic that geeks hold dear. Each speaker gets only 5 minutes and 20 slides that auto-advance every 15 seconds. The talk you're about to hear was recorded live at one of the featured Ignite events around the world.
So my wife laughs at me, and often, but the specific reason she laughs at me right now is because I've coined 2016 the year of my humbling, and that's because in 2016 I have failed a lot. Now, the reason for that is because it's how I define failing. My ego causes me to actually, instead of losing, I think that I'm failing. So much like Ricky Bobby's dad in Talladega Nights, he says if you ain't first, you're last. But if you remember that movie, he was actually high on drugs, so no rational person thinks like that. So the definition of failing is to not succeed, to end without success. But the more important one here to focus on is to not do something that you should do or expected to do. So I've had some business fails before. A couple of promotions companies, a communications company. We had a recreational oxygen company. Here you are sitting, breathing free oxygen. I thought we could monetize that. My buddy and I wonder why that failed. So the winner effect. Ian H. Robertson, who's a PhD, said, success changes the chemistry of the brain, making you more focused, smarter, more confident, and more aggressive. The effect is as strong as any drug, and the more you win, the more you will go on to win. So that means there's a fail effect or a loser effect. Noam Schmanzer, PhD, he said, what doesn't kill you actually makes you weaker. And he suggests that the effects of failing are just as contagious as the effects of winning. And study shows that sometimes if you mess up and fail, you kind of go down that path, kind of like dieters' rationale or workout rationale. You know, you break your diet, and you're like, well, I'll start that Monday. And it's actually only Tuesday of that week, so you postpone it to Monday, and then you crush cakes and cookies and all that stuff. It's kind of a bad idea. So the law of attraction says that like attracts like. And it's a new thought philosophy, but the whole idea is that if you think positive, you will attract positive. If you think negative, you will attract negative. So that bears the question. If the winner effect is contagious, and the fail effect is also contagious, then how do we avoid continuing down a negative path if we fail? Remember Ron Burgundy here? He was in a glass case of emotion. Now he's dressed like a vagrant, drinking milk on a warm day. Not a good situation. So, how do you define success is the biggest thing. How do you define success? I told my boss that I was going to sell 100 homes on a grand opening weekend. We only sold 64. Gigantic failure, or was it? It was actually one of the biggest successful grand openings we had. Have you ever heard of fail fast, fail often? We've all heard of that. It's a Silicon Valley mantra. The faster you fail, the faster you will get over your self-pity. Well, I don't come from a world of wanting to fail. I come from a world of wanting to win and being okay with failing. I had a buddy of mine who we owned that recreational oxygen business, and when we closed it up, he called me and he said, T-Palms, Todd, I'm hurt on this one. This one's bad. I can't handle this one. I'm going to take some time off. 2 weeks later, he called me and said, I'm opening a waffle shop. Gary Vaynerchuk, he says that most of you in this room here are scared to fail because someone you care about, someone you deeply care about will judge you. Well, here's what Gary says. I don't give a fuck what you think. I'm going to learn from it, and battle scars are attractive. In professional sports, statistically speaking, most professional athletes fail their entire career. The Cleveland Cavaliers had a field goal percentage last year of .460. That means 46% of the time they scored a basket. So the other 54%, they failed, but they were the NBA champs. Sarah Lewis, who's an art historian, did a TED Talk. She wants to know what gets us to convert success into mastery. And she says, let's value the gift of the near win. We thrive not when we've done it all, but when we still have more to do. So how do we actually learn and benefit from failure? Well, if winning is actually contagious, then we need to change our mind frame and our perspective when we lose. And when we review those failures, we need to find those wins. And it's very rare that we can't find a win with anything we do. And awareness is important as well. You have to be aware of the typical emotional responses that come with failure, regret, remorse, self-pity. And you need to recognize when those are happening to you when you're thinking about failure. And then when that happens, review those list of wins and get yourself back to thinking about winning. And to be completely honest, not trying is the ultimate failure because it sticks with you in forms of regret and forms of remorse. And those are similar emotional responses as failure. So if you're going to feel like you failed anyways, shouldn't we just try to win people? So I'm going to tell you, I don't want you to fail. I don't want you to fail fast. I want you to win. And I want you to recognize when you're not winning, and then I want you to take a look at that scenario, gather up all those small wins, go on to the next situation, and take those bag of small wins and go kick some ass. That's what I want from you guys.